Hi there, welcome to the channel Autism Farmer. My name is Patrick Lang. Our family owns Rainbow Seeds in Riverside, Albert, New Brunswick, Canada. So we're right on the Bay of Fundy, and I'm going to try to get right to this video. I just want you to know I'm not a doctor. You should always seek medical advice from someone in the medical field that understands autism. This is very important to get your confirmations from somebody that has studied this stuff for a long, long time. Don't forget also to like the video and hit the notification bell so that you get notified of the other videos. I'm going to try to post as many videos as I can, share the videos so other parents with children with autism can get this information. So here we go. Okay, so potty training, the quick fix. People are charging money to get this quick fix. I don't want to charge money. I don't want to be a famous YouTube video guy. I just want to do this simple and get to it. So, number one, the anxiety that autistic children have is, in my opinion, the number one reason why a child cannot go into a bathroom or doesn't want to stay in a small bathroom, a small room. And so this is the issue. So what we found was the anxiety that our child was getting was directly related to meat consumption, heavy protein consumption. And so we did our research. I had to study organic chemistry and biology for years, reading, watching videos until my eyes were bloodshot into the late hours of the morning. And so what we found out was there's two things that you want to be careful of. One is when you can't metabolize meats because your microbiome has been interfered with in your small intestines, say. Okay, so and you can't metabolize proteins. Instead, you have, say, homocysteine issues, maybe elevated homocysteine, but phenol is one of the issues. And ammonia is another issue, but I think phenol is the number one. There's a Dr. Stephanie Seneff of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and she's saying what's happening is phenylalanine, which is pretty much the main protein in meat that ends up being your L-DOPA. The metabolic process is phenylalanine, tyrosine into L-DOPA, which is your neurotransmitters. So phenylalanine is not being metabolized correctly into tyrosine, and funnily enough, it only needs one oxygen molecule. That's it. This is an issue when your oxygen molecules can't transfer into your phenylalanine to produce tyrosine. So so basically what Stephanie Seneff was suggesting, and she's very smart, you should watch her videos, is that when the microbiome breaks down, the phenylalanine, instead of metabolizing into tyrosine, it produces phenol in the body. And phenol is toxic to humans. It was what they used in Auschwitz to kill the Jews. 5 grams kills a human being. So if you say you're having, you drink black tea from India, and all of a sudden you get cloudy in the head, black tea's got a lot of phenol. So plants produce phenol to protect them against UVB or UV rays. And so that's the plant's defense mechanism. As the magnetosphere breaks down, everybody's hearing about this happening, 10% in the last, I think it was 5% in the last 10 years and 10% in the last 100 years before that. So it's been getting weaker, and so the plants are producing more phenol. But also, if you say your child's eating a lot of hot dogs, this could be toxic to your child if they cannot metabolize phenylalanine correctly. Now, just so you know, PKU is the genetic form of autism. I got to be careful how I say that. So the symptoms are almost exactly the same. I haven't met a child with PKU, but what they say, the doctors say on the internet, is PKU, the symptoms are exactly the same. And it's about the child with PKU, they can't metabolize phenylalanine, and it builds up in their blood. So serum phenylalanine levels go up. And if this happens, they end up with brain issues, degenerative issues. So say for example, your microbiome breaks down and you've got phenol now in your body, and phenol is almost the exact same chemical structure as phenylalanine. It's very similar, and what'll happen is if your body says, "Oh, I don't like the phenol," it's producing antibodies, antigens are against the phenol, and then the antibodies are, and for lack of a better term, they're stupid. So what they'll do, it's similar to a peanut allergy. It might be producing antibodies against peanuts, but if you eat other things that are similar to peanuts, you're going to have a reaction, right? So if your body's hypersensitive to the peanuts, then you'll have a reaction to, say, maybe almonds or sesame seeds or something like that. I'm not really sure. I've never worked with anybody that has peanut allergies, but it's something similar to that. So similarly, phenol, if your body's producing antibodies against phenol, imagine if those antibodies start attacking your phenylalanine. And how do you produce neurotransmitters? So with autism, as you know, they can memorize, but really taking that information and really analyzing it. This is where the autistic kids have the trouble, and that's where the neurotransmitters come in, right? So your brain can store information like a computer chip. You just store information, but then connecting that web of information, and 1 + 2 = 3, and you've got an aha moment. The autistic kids don't really get that so much, and so you have to make sure that their neurotransmitters are producing. So what we did with our son Noah is, in order to get his anxiety down, we ended up taking him off meat. We went vegetarian, and we weren't worried about protein. Phenylalanine is in tons of vegetables as well, so we weren't worried about it. So we just wanted to get his phenol levels down so his body was not so sensitive to the phenol and would produce less antibodies. Now, the other thing we did, and I'll talk about this in another video, is we would, have a little candy. I suggest something like a maple candy. And some of you are going to say, no, sugar's so bad. But what we found out, that it wasn't the sugar causing the problems with him, it was the potassium. And I'll explain that in another video. You got to watch that because it's an eye-opener. You're going to figure out why these autistic diets are working. But what sugar does, right, it boosts your metabolism, right? So it's going to trigger insulin, and insulin has something like 77 oxygen molecules and like 381 hydrogen molecules. It's something like that, and it's basically a metabolism steroid. And so when, like, say if we get off of our vegetarian diet, maybe during the shoulder months while we're doing our crops, we do more sugar when we're eating, say, a hamburger, if we're gonna go off our vegetarian diet. So we do little hard candies. We suggest organic cane sugar candy or maple candies, not the sugar beet produced sugars. Sugar beets are a cation. Makes your red blood cells come together, right? Anions, sugar cane, because it's grown above the ground, is an anion, and it gives you better zeta potential, separates your red blood cells. So you want an anionic sugar, not a cationic sugar, because you want your red blood cells transporting oxygen to your thyroid, to your brain, to your liver, to your pancreas, kidneys, all of that, right? So, yeah, so I'm going to end with that, but there's going to be a part 2. So I'm hoping that you guys put comments down, put questions down, right? And then I'll do a part 2 video, and we'll take this to the next level, right? So if I didn't explain something quite well enough so that you really get it, how taking the meat out will get the anxiety down, and the child will just potty train himself. That's what happened with our son. Took him off the meat, and he potty trained himself within a week. He knew how to do it. It's just he had the anxiety. And we got the anxiety. After that, we could touch his head. No issues at all. No issues at all, to this day. And so we started this when he was just before kindergarten, like 5 years old, and maybe 1 month to go right before kindergarten, and did it. Potty trained. And we didn't have to worry about that when he went to school. He is going to be 7 years old, going into grade 2 in a couple of months. So it's a quick fix. So don't forget, hit the bell, subscribe, like the video so that we can reach more people, and let's get the autistic kids healed. And remember, I'm not a doctor, but I am a parent of an autistic child. And so we live this stuff every day. I only study one thing, and that is how to make sure my son, his autism goes away. So, yeah, like the video, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you on the next videos, and I'm going to keep producing them as fast as I can because I've got a lot of information. Okay, talk to you soon.